Hello and welcome back to Homestead Need to Know. Today we're going to make bread and we're going to make it in the Thermomix. Now you don't necessarily have to have a Thermomix to make this bread, but it certainly makes life easier. But I will talk you through the process of doing it with just your Mixmaster and a dough hook. So the first thing you need is 300 mils of water. Now if you've got the Thermomix, it's nice and easy because it will actually measure it out for you. Oops, got a little bit. 300. 2 teaspoons of yeast. And then I also put 2 teaspoons of bread improver in there as well. If you're using your Mixmaster, just make sure that you put the water, that it's lukewarm water, so that it will activate the yeast. But because we're using the Thermomix and we're using cold water, set it to 37 degrees. We're going to set the timer for 1 minute and then put it on 1. Okay, our minute's up. Our yeast is nice and warm. The water's heated up there. So now we're just going to add the last few ingredients. Now, we've got our flour here. We're going to add 500 grams of flour. This is just a basic all-purpose flour. You can use wholemeal flour or grains. If you're using wholemeal flour, your bread will be that a little bit more dense. Okay, we're almost there. That's our 500 grams. 1 teaspoon of salt to give it some flavor. And a little bit of olive oil. Yep. Okay, when you make bread, it needs to rise. So you need to create a nice warm environment for it. So what I do is for 2 minutes, I put my oven on about 50 degrees while I'm preparing the bread. And that gets it to a nice temperature ready for the bread making. I've mixed the dough now, so it's a nice soft dough. Just get a little bit of flour on your hands. I've got a metal dish here because obviously I'm putting it in the oven, not that it's very hot in there. And all I'm going to do now is transfer this dough straight into the bowl. I'm not going to mess around with it. I'm not going to knead it for hours because I actually can't be bothered. And if it was that much hassle and effort, then I wouldn't want to make it in the first place. So once you've got it in, just turn it over so you've got a little bit of the oil that I had sprayed the bowl with, covering the top. And then you just pop it in the oven for 1 hour. Okay, it's been an hour, and as you can see, our bread has risen nicely. So what we're going to do is actually make it into bread rolls. It's easy to handle, so you just need a little bit of flour, just so that it doesn't get too sticky. If you're making bread rolls for hamburgers or something like that, you'd make about 8 bread rolls with this amount of dough. But because we're actually going to use it for dinner rolls, for our lasagna, we're actually going to make 12 from it. I've got a very well loved tin here that I'm going to spray very well to make sure that they don't stick. If your bread rolls don't come out straight away, just leave them a few seconds and they will actually start to get a little bit of condensation on the inside, and when that happens, they'll come off a lot easier. So all I've done is divide it into 2 portions, divide it again, and then with this I divide it into 3. As you can see, we do not do a lot of kneading and rolling because, as I said before, I'm a bit too slack for that. So again, 3, and we just sit them in, and that will make our lovely bread rolls. A thing a lot of people don't do is rise the bread a second time. Now if you don't do that, you're not going to get your nice fluffy bread rolls, or your nice fluffy bread for that matter. So once we've done this, we're going to put them back in the oven. Again, we're going to heat that oven for just 2 minutes and then turn it off. And we're going to leave them in there for about 45 minutes before we cook them. So it's as easy as that. So I'll pop them in the oven now to rise again. If you've got a hot climate, you could leave them sitting on top of your oven and not bother heating it up. But it's winter here in Australia, so we need to just heat it up a little bit. Okay, the timer's gone off. Our 45 minutes are up, and if you have a look, our bread rolls have risen and taken the whole pan, and our loaf of bread down here is rising as well. So what I'm going to do is put it on at 190 degrees for 20 minutes, and then we'll be able to take it out and it'll all be ready to go. Okay, 20 minutes are up. We've got ourselves a beautiful loaf of bread here and some great bread rolls to have with our lasagna. So anytime you're in the kitchen, if you know you're going to be in there for a while, it's worthwhile putting on a load of bread or two, and then you've got something to have with your coffee later. Thank you for watching our series Homestead Need to Knows. This series is filmed at Hameldaeme Homestead near Kilcoy, Queensland. Look for more Need to Knows on our Facebook page, Hameldaeme Dog Breeder. Until next time, see you later.